Happy Monday, and welcome to today's episode of the 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Teams podcast. I'm Annie Rind, and I bring you actionable solutions in about 6 minutes every week, and sometimes even more often if I'm feeling ambitious. I covered how to avoid the mistakes of Web 1.0 and 2.0 when deploying Copilot in your business in a recent episode, but today I want to go even deeper. I think Web 3.0, the era of AI, will be the most transformative yet. Things are moving so fast in the Copilot world that if you repeat the mistakes of Web 1.0 and 2.0, the advent of the internet and then social media, if you make those same mistakes, you risk being left hopelessly behind. The past mistake amongst organizations that I want to spotlight today is the standard manner of implementing new Microsoft technology. In the past, no matter what the Microsoft technology, organizations were bedazzled by the bells and whistles, correctly surmised that there was great potential there, and then they set out to implement the technology. Therein is the problem. It was about the technology, not the business problems each new technology could solve. Whether internet homepages, social media profiles and news feeds, Microsoft SharePoint or Teams, or any other cool application, organizations paid fortunes for trainers, courses, and anything else that would teach the technology, just for the sake of casting the technology out amongst the workforce and hoping it would sprout efficiency somewhere. No, what I want you to consider doing is quite different. Yes, you need to learn a bit about the new application. In this case, it's Copilot, Microsoft's AI tool, but you don't need to learn all about it. You don't need a trainer or comprehensive courses, at least in the beginning. You simply need to learn the intent and basic premise behind Copilot. Then, you should spend a bit of time learning a few use cases. Then, when you have a pretty good understanding of the potential and the intent of Copilot, begin brainstorming your current list of opportunities and leave the how-to to Copilot itself. I'll explain in a minute. Now, keep in mind that per the old manner of implementing technology in organizations, you'd be setting out to do a massive education and adoption campaign. That's a daunting mountain to climb, and it's one you don't have to climb. When you set out in that manner, as you have likely done in the past, you're going to not only be exhausted halfway through, but your results are going to be lackluster. Instead, you're going to seek out your biggest problem processes and biggest time wasters. Do you have a time-consuming process that works perfectly fine other than it takes a lot of time? Those are ripe for Copilot improvement. What if you have a well-performing process that takes a person 3 hours a day, but with the addition of Copilot could be even higher performing, but take only 30 seconds a day? Yeah, I think you'd jump on that. Well, that's the power of doing needs-based implementation of Copilot rather than the old-fashioned deployment method of mass education. Pick one process or task at a time and then ask, how can Copilot streamline or automate that activity? Identifying the opportunities is the hardest part. Develop your list of opportunities, then prioritize them. Pick one at a time to improve with Copilot. But you're likely asking, how can I improve the activity if I only know the general intent of Copilot and not the how-to? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Use Copilot as your trainer. Here's how. Let's say you have a repetitive task that you want to automate or streamline with Copilot. Simply explain to Copilot the task, even if it has 36 steps. Copilot doesn't care if it takes 10 paragraphs to explain the task. Actually, Copilot prefers details. But here's the important and magical part. You should start the prompt with a sentence like this. Copilot, I am a financial advisor. I would like you to tell me how you can help me streamline or automate the following task. That's it. Ask Copilot how it can help you with the task and then describe the task in great detail. Copilot will give you one or more ways it can help you. Pick the way that sounds best and then flesh it out with Copilot. That's one of the great things about Copilot. You don't just do questions and answers. You have a conversation. Let's say Copilot told you how it could help, but it didn't sit quite right. It was close, but not what you wanted. In that case, simply tell Copilot your misgivings about the answer, and it will alter the solution in a way that more suits your taste. I've done that so many times, and it almost makes me feel guilty because it's so easy. And what's cool, Copilot never gets its feelings hurt. You can keep sending it back to try again until you get what you want, even if it takes a dozen attempts. Copilot is tireless and always helpful. You can even say that about any of your best employees. Everyone has a breaking point, but Copilot doesn't. But I digress. The moral of the last couple minutes is that you don't need to go out and research how to use Copilot to improve your processes. You simply ask Copilot how it can help you, and it will tell you. The trainer and consultant is built into the tool. So, you're saying, Annie, isn't that reducing the need for people like myself to call County Quest Consulting? Well, yes and no. You may not need us to train you on using Copilot, but you may want to go back and listen to episode 70 where we talked about context. Copilot can help you regardless how messy your organizational information is, but if you don't have a grip on your Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive environments, Copilot is hamstrung. It cannot mine your data as effectively. So, there are 2 takeaways today. First, look first to your opportunities rather than a Copilot trainer. In other words, do needs-based deployment rather than focusing on the technology. Second, have your collaborative and informational house in order so you can get the most out of Copilot. We can certainly help you do that because that is a not fun activity, especially if you've never done it before and don't have a process for doing it. That's where we can help. Go on over to countyquest.com and set up a complimentary hour-long consultation so you can learn more about laying the foundation for Copilot. If you do those 2 things, you're going to be the boss of your market sector. I guarantee it. Until next week, this is Annie signing off.